I'm gonna tell you about Dave's here story, and actually, she went through more than you think. And also, most of the time, she actually acts like she's happy. Most of the time, she's actually sad. So actually, it started happening when Dave's here first met David Bearme. This actually just when that we meet Dave's here. And that's actually just a Dave version of Seer. There's a lot of versions of Seer. And Seer's AU. And Bearme thinks that everything is fine. But Dave immediately sees something wrong with her. Her eyes actually usually looks like Dave's. But when she's depressed, her pupils dilate and then they turn blue. And Dave seen that and asked her what was wrong. Dave Seer didn't respond. So Dave was very concerned about this. And Dave Seer's actually one of the most caring people in the history of Seer and Friends. But she only bees nice because she wants to. She doesn't want to show everybody what she's been through. And actually what triggers her depression is when she was all the way back to 8 years old. Well, at 8 years old, Dave Seer actually lost 3 friends. And you maybe think, oh, Dave Seer didn't have no friends when she was 8. Yes, she did. She actually did. And they were all actually scrapped characters. Which is why we don't muchly see them in the Seer and Friends, except Brabachiko Seer. So what she actually lost was Brabachiko Seer, Brabachiko, and Kid Trollface when she was younger. So that's why she doesn't even go in front of them anymore. And that's why they don't go in front of her. And actually she lost another one of her 3 friends as well. Which came to muchly these more scrapped characters that we didn't met yet. And actually, I know it's kind of a copy, but they're actually scrapped, and they're meant to muchly never be in Sierra's world, which is actually Kuromi Sierra, Maya Melody Sierra, and Hello Kitty Sierra. And actually, the reason why they were never seen is because Hello Kitty Sierra literally got into a bad car accident, and all of them couldn't survive over the injuries. So she actually lost 6 friends in her childhood. So Dave Seer was traumatized by this. And she was so sad that she actually tried to unalive herself ever since she was 8. Ever since she's seen that, she actually grabbed a knife. And I think and she points it to her arm. And I think you know what she tried to do? But instead of her bleeding, it actually just automatically heals. And that's why we see that scar on her arm. We see the scar right. If you look closely into Dave Sierra's arm, you can see the little scar that she tried to unalive herself. And it never went away. It only healed a little bit and stayed there. So it can remind Dave Sierra to never go that far again. And actually, you maybe think that Bammy Seer is alright, but Bammy Seer is also in this. Because actually, Dave Seer and Bammy Seer are actually couples, and they're both depressed. Yeah, Bammy Seer and Dave Seer are both depressed, and they both been through things. But they try their best not to show their depression in front of their friends. That's why every time they go to their bed, they end up crying. But their friends don't worry about it. And that's why Bambi Seer and Dave Seer has pocket knives in their pockets. And even Bambi Seer also has a scar too. If you look close enough, you can see the little scar on her head. Because she actually took that pocket knife and slit her head with it. But instead of her bleeding, it just healed. But it just reminded Bambi Seer to look in the mirror, realize what she have done, and never make that same mistake again. But they doesn't much see them references. They just only see their dilated pupils. So Dave always asks them what's wrong, but instead of them even answering, they ended up saying nothing. And if they said something, they said, "It's nothing," or "You won't care." And there's actually a creepypasta based on it. There's actually a creepypasta about Bambi Seer, and there's one about Dave Seer too. And this is only going to take a little bit of your time, okay? So, actually, all of the Seer friends have been through something, except Brabachigo and Brabachigo Seer. The rest of them has been through something. Even Trollface has been through something, and you can tell that because his meme is dead and everything else. And you can see that most of the time he's depressed. But this actually goes back to when Bambi Seer was back to 5 years old. and Dave Sear and Bambi Sear, Dave Sear, Bambi Sear, Dave, Bambi, and Bandu are also involved in this creepypasta. And you can tell by that. So Bambi Sear was actually at kindergarten at that time. And actually, they're actually performing their first talent show. And then when Bambi Sears started singing on her vocals, everybody booed at her and started throwing tomatoes at her. And then when she kept trying to sing, they just kept booing and throwing tomatoes straight at her. There's also one that threw it at her face. So everybody booed at her and told her she was never going to achieve her dreams. And then Bambi Sear was shocked and traumatized. So actually, Dave, Bambi, Bandu, and Dave Sear were actually in a car going home. And Dave was the one driving. And yes, Dave Sear was a kid, so she was in the back seat. And then at that point, they didn't know that Bambi Sear was there because she was so short. So she ended up getting hit by the car. And she almost unalived. But Bandu Sear was also in the creepypasta as well. I forgot to mention that. So Bandu Sear actually took her to the hospital before she could bleed out. And actually, they thought it was a speed bump. Then all of a sudden, their car turned over and crashed. So actually, Dave, Bandu, Dave Sear, and Bambi were all unalived. The only person who made it alive was X-Sponge. And when X-Sponge seen everybody unalived, he cried and went to the house as fast as he can. And while Bambi Sear was in the hospital, she made a full recovery. Just her legs and her arms were broken. And it actually would take only like 4 weeks to heal. So Bambi Sear was actually in the wheelchair, and her arms had casts on them, and also her legs did too. So for the rest of the 4 weeks, she had to be in a wheelchair. And while Bandu Sear was pushing Bambi Sear in the wheelchair, they seen the car. And they seen blood all over it. Bandu Sear looked inside the car and seen them. Bandu Sear pretended that nothing happened and didn't know what it was about. And then Bandu Sear went as fast as she could, trying to forget all about that. As if Bambi Sear didn't even notice it. She was looking at the sky. So she didn't even know nothing. As if Bambi Sear never knew into Bandusier actually told her. And Bamisier went to a cliff and said, Dave, Bambi, Bandu, and Dave's here. Just know I'm gonna join y'all in a minute. I'm sorry. And then I think you know what she done. And the ending is with Bandusier crying at the cliff. And then some kind of monster voice whispers that the red mist is coming to Sierra's world. And that's when it actually ends. And let's go to the Dave Seer creepypasta, shall we? I know the video is going to be longer, but I might as well get this over with. So actually, this was back when Dave Seer was actually just 2 years old. So first, it beats with Dave Seer and OG Dave Seer crawling on the floor because they were both babies. And they were hanging out with each other until stuff starts going dark. And then all of a sudden the lights flicker on and off. On and off. So then Dave Seer was very confused. Onto this. So she actually seen somebody that whispered good night and sleep tight. She thought it was her mom. So they actually just went into their cribs and went to bed. But then OG Dave Seer realized that their mom wasn't there at all. They remembered that their mom and their dad went on vacation and there was a babysitter there. They looked in the babysitter room and there was not no sign of the babysitter. And then she thought that the babysitter was just trying to scare them. So she went to bed, but the lights flickered on and off again. And then all of a sudden, Dave Seer gets out of her crib and crawls into the hallway to see what's going on. And then that's when she actually sees the babysitter unalived. She called her mom, but she didn't answer. And then they didn't know what to do. So they just went to bed and hoped it was all just a joke. And actually it wasn't. And then also this is also kind of a reference to the episode Red Mist. So actually it was 8 o'clock in the morning and Dave Seer finally woke up. The lights stopped flickering and the TVs were on. So Dave Seer finally had a sigh of relief. Until she opened the window, and then she seen a lot of red mist all over the house. Then Dave Seer was confused. So she woke up OG Dave Seer, but Dave Seer seen a big old cut on her face. And she was bleeding out. She couldn't even wake up. So then she rushed her to the hospital immediately. But she couldn't make it there. And when she made it there, it was too late. And plus, and then Dave Seer went missing. OG Dave Seer was unalived and Dave Seer went missing. Because she was actually going into some kind of gate that says free candy on it, and she was dumb enough to fall for it. Because her mom didn't told her stranger danger. So she went into there and then she went missing. She went missing, and that's when the creepypasta actually ends. It ends with Dave Seer with an eye patch, and OG Dave Seer with stitches. I don't know how she's alive, but that's just a creepypasta, and that's when it actually ends. And ain't no telling what the heck just happened in the creepypasta, but the answer is we don't know. No one knows the creepy backstory over the creepypasta. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and walk over to the subscribe button. Touch it. It's free. It doesn't cost you nothing, okay? Don't be shy. You need to subscribe, or else I'll put a lot of dead termites and dead roaches all over your bed when you sleep. And then you'll wake up in a pile of dead roaches and dead termites. So, unless you want to wake up in the bed with all of that, then just subscribe, okay? Just subscribe. It won't happen to you if you subscribe. I'll come to your house and I'll put dead roaches and dead termites all over your bed. I'll even put them on your pillow. Then when you wake up, you'll regret and you'll wish you had subscribed. So, go ahead and subscribe. Okay? And please don't eliminate this. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay? Have a blessed day.